Folks, this is the Chad Factor here to you on this Monday. It's been 2 days since the ending of Samurai Jack Season 5, Episode 10. And Samurai Jack has officially ended altogether. I have to say that overall, I did love this series, but it does come with some criticism here and there. But the last episode of Samurai Jack was everything I did not expect. I did not expect all the characters, um, not including the outside galaxy ones that came to Earth. Because every character didn't come back, but all the characters that Jack found on Earth that were not that were from Earth and not from a distant galaxy, all came back in this one episode. And how they all came back were that everybody was watching the broadcast, right? The Scotsman's daughters, the alien people from the sea, okay, the Woolies, the Archers, the little archaeologist dogs, the Ravers. Everybody was watching Aku about to kill Jack, and this concept has been in the diaphragm of society, and it's been one of the biggest mistakes of why conquerors don't last long and why rulers don't last long, and that is from the 48 laws of power: crush your enemy completely. And since Aku could not figure out a way to do anything, he was trying to figure it out and do this. He said, I don't know which way I can do it. And then it says, pop, pop, pop. And then he says, I'm going to get my daughter, who is Ashi, to kill you because that's who Jack loves. And I'm going to get into that in a minute. But what happens is Ashi's about to kill him. And then suddenly it was all out war. Everybody that Jack ever oh, I forgot about, there was the robots from the Mondo bot. I almost forgot about that. Sorry about that. But everybody came in. And the dogs, the everybody just came in. The dogs, the aliens, the ravers, the woolies, and the archers. All of them came in to protect them, and were just shooting and gunning and doing whatever they could to stop Aku. Aku stomps on some of the willies. Then some mini Akus come out. They're battling. They're fighting. They get the other people off their machines and their birds because they're just trying to fight them. It's war. Spartans come through. Almost forgot about the Spartans. They're trying to hold off the Aku band. And then the Scotsman comes in looking like Santa Claus with the reindeer. 'Twas the night before Christmas. It came to be. This is no one. I think I'm the first person to say this. Please tell me that that y'all think that this is like Santa Claus coming in like with the reindeer and the magic, like with the Celtic magic, dude. Like, came in reindeer, was going against Aku's minions, killing them with the reindeer, and then Scotsman keeps blowing his instrument, blows all the Aku mess away, blows Ashi away. The girls fighting Ashi. Scotsman meets Jack. Jack surprises Ghost. You know, um, Scotsman has a few words with him. Talks about his daughters. Says, "I will be honored if you wanted to marry one of my daughters." Jack said that I cannot. Scotsman gets offended. Jack says, "Oh, I found someone else," and then who? And this is one of the best quotes of this show, where Jack shows the Scotsman who he wants to date, and he points to Ashi, who's on an Aku form, and then Scotsman says she's not your type. One of the best comments so far about this. They talk, and then Mondobot comes through, comes in through the gate. goes face to face with Aku. Aku says some words. Mondo Bot be like, poof, 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 whooping him. Jack tries to save Ashi. Eventually says, I love you to Ashi. And Ashi finally regains her consciousness. Mondo Bot keeps punching. Rips Aku. Punch, kick. You know, that goes to show you that Aku may be invincible in some ways, but he can be hurt in some ways and beaten, physically speaking. Aku gets mad that he's getting beat, gathers his parts of him, goes into the sky, rains down spikes. Pretty much, it's a Samurai Jack version of Majin Buu's human extinction attack. Okay, basically kills at least half of everybody who was there. The dog, some of the archers, some of the aliens. Okay, you know, the Scotsman sees that his daughters are about to get hit. Scotsman plays his instrument, propels the spikes away. This I don't care what anybody says. The Scotsman needs to get a MVP for this episode. The Scotsman needs an MVP, and then the Mondo Bot gets the second because he put some hardcore damage on Aku, dude. I mean, they were putting that work, man, on him. So that happens. The Mondo bot falls. The robot's controlling it falls. You know, the Scotsman repels it. Aku tries to tell Ashi, you know, that is he dead, and then basically Ashi and Aku basically have a father-daughter moment, which is arguing, where she's basically denying that where Ashi's denying that you're my father, talking back, and then Aku tries to strike, then she defends herself. Aku strikes again, defends herself. Aku used laser eyes. She uses laser eyes. She had all of Aku's powers. And then finally, which is another part which is used for criticism, she grabs a sword. That even though she's Aku, she can touch the sword without getting hurt. So, you know, it is what it is. Gives him sword and then opens her mouth and does a time spell. They go back through the past. Aku says, oh no. Because you know he just effed up, screwed up. And then they go back in the past, come back. Aku just sent Jack back to the future. And get this also, folks. Jack has been through 50 years in the future. So that future could be 5 minutes in their time frame. You know how crazy that is? But anyway, comes in, battles Aku, swords him. He's weakened, so he's going all hard on Aku to beat him. He's crushing him completely. And then what happens is that Jack finally destroys Aku, says no more, puts him basically got him in a sword, laid the hammer down in the whole place. The whole place explodes. Aku's destroyed for good. Ashi then falls down, and then where she gets back up and says she's okay, and I felt Aku leave me. Then we fast forward by I don't know how much time has passed. All of Jack's people who he trained with over a period of time all come out, and it's basically a wedding. It's basically a Japanese style wedding. And then what happens is they all get ready. Jack gets ready, she gets ready. She's walking to the aisle, and then suddenly she falls down. Jack asks, what's wrong? Everybody's watching to see what's going on. And then Ashi says that since Aku's gone, Ashi never would have existed now. Which doesn't make time travel sense. because she should have disappeared when Aku beat when Samurai Jack beat Aku. But that's neither here nor there. So we see that happen. She disappears in thin air in her dress. Just disappears. Everybody's crying. Everybody's sad. Jack is sad. And now he's alone. And then we see him going on his horse. He gets a ladybug. A ladybug flies on him. And then he has a smile on his face, and basically being reminded of Ashi. So that's the whole episode in a nutshell. And Takagowski, I don't know if it's pronounced his name right, General Konogowski, he did very well in these 10 episodes, but I think that the final was still rushed. It was a very, very good ending, and I think Ashi was a necessary sacrifice so the entire world can be at peace. Because look at it from this perspective. Half his friends died in the future when Aku did his human extinction attack, which means that it would have been great for him to rebuild. Like I would prefer if he would have rebuilt everything, stayed there, the aging process goes, and he was King Samurai Jack. But half his friends are dead. Okay? Scotsman is dead. Okay? So just think about that. That half his friends are legitimately dead from the Aku's human extinction attack with the spikes. Okay? But let's look into something else, right? So why did Tanagowski have Samurai Jack fall in love with Aku's daughter? Why couldn't he get a girl from a different race or a different species? I'd rather for that to happen, or even date one of the Scotsman's daughters. I'd rather Samurai Jack to have dated one of the Scotsman's beautiful daughters than date Ashi, even though Ashi's bae. We all know this. But let's be honest. Now, another thing that could have happened was if Jack stayed in the future, he could have still destroyed Aku. And maybe half of Ashi would be gone, because maybe that's why. Maybe half of Aku was gone automatically, and I guess the time travel process worked in where she just disappeared because Aku never gave the essence and was never born. So in the future, so therefore she never existed, right? If she was in the future, Ashi still could have survived. Her power would have been gone, but she still could have survived with Jack. But he would just have to stay in the future. Okay, and then he would grow old, and then the aging process would go, right? So that's another thing that could have happened with that. At the same time, this ending was good in the regards of Aku is finally destroyed. But why on earth would you allow Samurai Jack to fall in love with one of his mortal enemy's daughters and blood? Why is that? It could be a kick in the story, I can see that, but why couldn't Jack love somebody better than that? Okay? Think about this for a second, people. I'm not saying he didn't do good. I'm not saying he didn't do well, but if this was 24 episodes and if they just structured it a little bit better, like I love seeing all the old characters back, don't get me wrong. But there could have been better love interests than Aku's daughter. Because really, Samurai Jack did kiss a little girl when he was in his young days. But the two women he liked was Aku in human form and Aku's daughter. I mean, Aku in female form, sorry. Just think about that for a second. Overall, I'll give this episode a 9 out of 10. Overall, I'll give the season an 8 out of 10. because it should have been longer and more explanation to the story than this. I'm glad Aku's destroyed, but Jack has lost a love interest. But on the flip side, all of humanity is saved because of that sacrifice to him, which is a great thing, but it could have ended a better way. So I give the entire season an 8. I give this episode a 9. And the Scotsman in this episode was the MVP of this episode as a ghost form. MVP. Mondobot gets the second place position because he just whooped Aku's butt. And like I said, Scotsman came in like Santa Claus on reindeer. It was amazing. Please take that reference. This is my review of Samurai Jack, Season 5, Episode 10. Hopefully we'll get better episodes, and hopefully we'll get it better. But just another note on this one. This has nothing to do with Samurai Jack. This cartoon has been getting 1 million views each week. Okay? Do you think any of the modern day cartoons are getting that? We've been waiting 16 years for this series to end, and it finally ended. And we had a 13-year dry spot from not hearing about it. But it finally comes on, and you can only give us 10 episodes. But on a plus side, these 10 episodes are better than almost every modern day cartoon on Cartoon Network, Nickelodeon, Disney Channel. Just think about that, people. We are never going to see something like this again, ever in our lifetime. Unless we get people in my generation who know how to make good cartoons to make better cartoons. Because these cartoons are nothing, and these 10 episodes are better than what Disney, Cartoon Network, or Nickelodeon has combined. This series is on the same level as Avatar: The Last Airbender of how good it is, man. One of the best American cartoons in the history of our country. But that's my 2 cents. Again, the entire season gets an 8. This episode gets a 9. Samurai Jack episode 10 review, and there it is. Thank you.